Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. So the preseason is upon us and Riot will slowly be unveiling more and more new information and details of what they're planning to do in this big update. We already know of course about the Assassin rework or the Assassin update that's coming to the preseason, which is a very huge update, but there's going to be several other things. For instance, the topic we'll be talking about today. Plants. Yes, literally plants. The Riot is apparently putting in these plants into the jungle at random times and in random locations that offer 3 different types of rewards or benefits. So we're going to be talking about this for this video, just kind of getting a better idea on maybe what the hell Riot is trying to do, because there's definitely some good things about this, but there's also definitely some bad things. So first things first, let's actually take a look at what these plants even look like or what they can even do. So here's the first one. It's called the Scryer's Bloom. So essentially what you can do is you can walk over it, you can attack it like this, and you'll get vision of everything in the area, apparently including wards and trinkets. Pretty cool, but let's take a look at what the second plant is. This second one is just kind of like a ZigW where you attack it and everything explodes around it and people jump around, and you can also see at the top there are 6 raptors now, not 4, another change. And the final one is called Honey Fruit, where you just attack it, it explodes, and you get a bunch of fruits on the ground that you pick up, and it restores your HP, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. Currently, those are the 3 plants that Riot is implementing in random places around the jungle, and apparently in some places in the river as well, and I mean, that's gonna be that's pretty much it, yeah. So let me give you guys a little bit more information about these plants before we kind of start scrutinizing them and just kind of giving my opinion and everyone's opinion and just what the community seems to think about it. So the plants are going to be somewhat strategically placed throughout the jungle. The intention of these plants is not to try and help the early jungle clears and to try not kind of messing with that whatsoever if possible, because apparently the first set of plants spawn relatively late into the game and the initial spawn points are more or less fixed. And apparently the second wave of plants happens towards the tail end of the laning phase, and the seeded river locations are fairly deep in the river. So that's kind of the idea that I'm getting from this, and based on the Rioter comments that again, yeah, the plants are there to sort of make fights in the jungle a bit more interesting and a bit, I guess, more unpredictable, but kind of add an extra layer of dynamicness, if that's even a word, and to try and not impact the early game jungle clears too much, if at all. So that right there is the basic rundown of everything you need to know about these plants. But there are a couple more things to mention that's somewhat indirectly related to these plants. Smiting the jungle camp, so maybe red buff for the HP or the raptors for that vision, no longer just does anything whatsoever, so smiting them now is just solely for the damage. On top of this, smiting in general now, the jungle monsters will give you a bit of HP back rather than only getting HP back when you smite the red buff. So this is definitely related to these plans being implemented into the game and Riot to try and I guess make the jungle camps and the jungle in general work around these new plants. And yeah, so let's I guess talk about this and just what exactly does this mean. So I get what Riot is trying to do. I mean, they want to keep the game fresh, they want to add these new elements and just make things interesting and kind of try and make League of Legends still League of Legends, but at the same time feel a little bit different and almost new and fresh. I fully get that. I mean, it's great that they're doing that. It's great that they're trying to keep the game still fun and exciting after all these years. I mean, that's perfectly fine. But at the same time, this specific edition just feels kind of weird. It just feels almost out of place. Almost like it doesn't really belong in Summoner's Rift, and it just being there makes things a little bit awkward. I mean, again, yeah, after you play this for a while and once it gets to the live servers and you just kind of get used to it or accustomed to it, no one will really care anymore. But for the first few times and just looking at it now, definitely a little bit weird. The biggest issue in my opinion is the random number generators, the RNG factor with these plants. Again, they do spawn in random areas around the Summoner's Rift map, again around the jungle primarily. And on top of this, the actual plants that spawn there are also going to be random from what I understand, which adds a lot of RNG elements to the game to the point where it kind of questions it on whether or not you're actually playing League of Legends through skill and actually just flat out beating your opponents through raw mechanics or just decision making, or are you winning just through sheer luck and RNG? I mean, this kind of always makes me want to think of Hearthstone, because Hearthstone is a pretty damn good example of just a lot of RNG, and winning through strictly RNG never really feels all that good, and it just kind of makes you question, is the game about skill or is it about luck? League of Legends is a game that is supposed to be somewhat hardcore. It's supposed to be very difficult. It's supposed to have a deep learning curve, but adding things like this definitely makes it feel a little bit more casual and just not so rewarding when you invest a lot of time to just really understand the game and learn the game, only to lose by some stupid plant appearing out of nowhere and yeah, maybe screwing your things up in just a really awkward way that you just couldn't really predict. So again, I don't know, it does definitely feel a little bit weird. I'm not sure if I fully agree with these planned additions being added to League of Legends. Like, you know, I like that they're trying to make the game feel fresh and new and all that stuff, but is this the best way to do it? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, again, not a huge fan of the RNG elements being thrown around everywhere. Yeah, we have the elemental dragons, which I don't think is actually too bad. I think it's actually quite interesting, but adding even more layers of RNG on top of all of that is just not really all that good, and I just don't feel like that's the direction that League of Legends should be going whatsoever. I don't know, I mean, there's still a lot of changes that can happen to these plans before they actually hit the live servers, you know, a lot of PvE testing coming up, I'm sure, so hopefully things will change for the better. Maybe things will be a lot better than we think it is or than it currently seems, I don't know. But either way, I do want you guys to let me know in the comments below, what do you think about these plans being added to League of Legends? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Why? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, hit that like button to show your support. Make sure to share this with your friends because this is some pretty damn big news and I feel like a lot of people need to know about this edition. And that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.